night. Truth's on the run. Buried secrets were the ones who dig them up for fun. Headstones in the graveyard where stories reside. We bring back headlines, no place to hide. Try to cover it, but we'll find the trace. Shadows and whispers, no escape from this place. Headstones and headlines, where the truth collides. We'll expose the lies. There's nowhere to hide. From the dirt to the brick, we'll make it clear. True crime uncovered, it's why we're here. The headline tells a tale of deceit. From the grave to the page, the truth reads. Cold cases, long leads, nothing gets by. We turn the stones, leave no questions why. You can run, but we're hard on the trail. Every secret's revealed, no matter how stale. Headstones and headlines, where the truth collides. We'll expose the lies. There's nowhere to hide. From the dirt to the brick, we'll make it clear. True crime uncovered, it's why we're here. In the dark of the night, we bring it to light. Every crime, every lie, every fight. No stone left unturned, no truth left unsaid. We write the headlines from the graves of the dead. Headstones and headlines, where the truth collides. We'll expose the lies. There's nowhere to hide. From the dirt to the brick, we'll make it clear. True crime uncovered, it's why we're here. Headstones and headlines, where the stories remain. We dig 'em up, we feel their pain. The truth is out, the case is closed, but our search for justice never slows.
Hey everybody, how are you? Happy Friday. Man, I wish this heat would just a little bit. Like it's so humid and I'm starting to go a little bit stir crazy being in the house. I did go outside today for like, I don't know, not very long because it was so muggy, but it was nice to get outside for at least a little bit. I hope everyone's day went well. My day was good. Well, not I, but a family came to meet the mommy cat that I've been fostering, and she went to her forever home today. So that was super exciting, even though it was kind of sad. She was so nervous, the poor little beanie. But they seemed like really great people and they love animals. They did so much for, the animals that they've had that were sick. So she's going to have an awesome, awesome life. So that happened today. And that's about it. That's about it. I cleaned the refrigerator, if that's exciting. It's just I don't feel like doing much. It's so muggy, and you start moving to do stuff and then you start sweating even though you have the AC on. It's like whatever. So thanks for being here. I see Steph B was first. Popcorn, Bella, good to see you. Nanny, Oki, happy pre-4th. I don't think I'm doing anything tomorrow for the 4th. I actually have, on my second channel, I do have a live stream set up for 7 Eastern time. So that's what I'll be doing on the 4th. However, I may have to move it a little bit earlier because I need to find out if they're doing fireworks across the river. Because if they are, well, I mean, I'm not on that long. So, I mean, for now it's going to be at 7, but depending on what time they do fireworks, may change the time a little bit. But I will be talking about the things happening this week, and how some people seem to forget what they supported in the past. So that will be tomorrow. Marie Purple Freak, thanks for being here. I know Forever Homes are so good. It's super exciting. So now I'm just going to, I still have Aura, but poor Aura, she's traumatized because both of them were, Aura made like a little papoose like in the chair. So she was like in the chair. Well, then the mommy cat goes under there. I'm like, good Lord, we're going to have a fight. We didn't have a fight, but I had to tip the chair sideways. Aura ran away and hid. And mommy cat stayed in there. So I had to get my gloves because she was growling and I wasn't sure. I didn't think she would like go to bite me or anything, but I wasn't sure. So I go get my big gloves. I get her out, and she did let the people pet her. She was just very, very nervous. So I have to get in there and clean that room up so that I can have room for new fosters. Hey Pookie, thanks for being here. So today I'm going to show the entire arraignment again. Kat, who was here yesterday, did send me an email with the live feed of the arraignment that showed their faces as the judge was talking. And so I did skip ahead because she had mentioned that when the judge announced that it was going to be a $300,000 surety cash bond, the younger sider, his mouth like dropped open. So I had to look ahead, and sure enough it did. He was like, he couldn't believe that it was $300,000. It should have been way more than that, if you ask me. So we have that, and then I also have a couple of news stories related to Gary Jr.'s previous charges. The Dollar General employee that I had mentioned yesterday, she did an interview with one of the local news sources. And then I also have a full interview with one of the first responders and a lawyer for Elizabeth Sider, who is the mom of the children. He spoke to a local media outlet as well. So that's what I've got for us today. One thing that I did do, for those of you who may not have been here yesterday, I did update the slide that I had. The birth dates were stated in court yesterday. And I, again, thank you to Kat, who sent me the link to where I could find the court records for these 4 scumbags. And the 17th charge was an error. So even though their court paperwork still says they were charged with 17 counts, they are only being charged with 16 counts. So here's 16 total victims. Again, this was in No, I don't remember the name of the county. Oh my gosh. Starts with a V. Like my brain. Is it Victor County? Vinton County. Oh my gosh. Vinton County, Ohio. Let me write that down because I'm going to forget it again. I know I am. And give me 1 second. So I just kept it the way that it was, but I did update. So the household was 5 rooms, 1 bathroom. It was 1,336 square feet was the main floor. The basement was an additional 518 square feet. And law enforcement did state that the 16 children, all of them, were being held in a 12 by 12 area. And the one man had said that it was an approximation 12 by 12. Doesn't matter. Even if it was a 10 by 10, 14 by 14, it's still like that's not a lot of space for 16 kids to be. Hey, Kursuma, how are you? So we have, the children that were listed on the paperwork. So we have CS, who was born on May 30th, 2008, is 18. The 16-year-old ZS was born August 17th, 2009. The 15-year-old CS was born March 13th, 2011. The 14-year-old KS, born March 28th, 2012. 13-year-old BS, born May 8th, 2013. The 11-year-old GS, the third, so we know that that's a male because it is now the third, September 2nd, 2014. The 10-year-old LS, born May 25th, 2016. The 8-year-old VS, born October 26th, 2017. The 6-year-old JS, born October 27th, 2019. 5-year-old ES, born September 29th, 2020. The 4-year-olds were twins. NS and SS were born February 10th, 2022. The 2-year-olds, who are also twins, BS and WS, were born January 4th, 2024. And the 18-month-olds, IS and IS, were born January 21st, 2025. And I still can't get over that the last 6 children were twins. Like 3 sets of twins. That's crazy. Crazy. Yeah, it's definitely helpful to kind of organize it. And the paperwork, I was hoping that they would have more information, but it was literally exactly what the judge read off in court. So we'll hear what those records say. And I feel like there was something else I wanted to mention. Initially, like during the proceedings yesterday, the judge did say the names of the 18-month-olds, but they have since redacted those names from the paperwork on the website. So I also redacted their names because it doesn't really matter. It makes you wonder if there were any deceased. You know, that actually I thought about today because I think specifically between the 13-year-old and the 11-year-old, I mean, was there any, I mean, that's a lot of children. And the mom was she 33? No. Yes. So the mom was 33. The dad was 36. They were married when he was 18, she was 15. And then the grandfather was 73 and the grandmother was 66. So 16 children. I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine. Okay, so let's go over to YouTube. No, pause. All right, let me back it up. So this first clip kind of gives a summary of the case if you hadn't been here yesterday. And it also talks about Gary Siders II, which is the dad. He had been charged for 4 counts of indecent exposure. And court documents, I do have another clip after the arraignment we'll watch that discusses those charges more in depth. They interestingly, they had gone to the house to serve a warrant for Gary II's arrest. And they didn't realize that they would be finding 16 children as well. And it seemingly, the Dollar General employee said that, they would come into the store. But hearing from other neighbors and, people in that area, no one knew that there were children there. And that's so sad. And, I still wonder, Elizabeth, who was the mom, and Gary II, who was the dad, did they work? Did they just stay home? What did they do to help make ends meet? Because I don't believe the grandfather and grandmother worked. They were retirement age. And honestly, the grandfather doesn't look like he's in any shape to work at all. Because he definitely, to me, seems like they all have mental issues. But specifically, he appears that he also has some cognitive issues, because he kind of was during the arraignment, he just kind of didn't seem to know what was happening. So Bella said, I thought I heard family has said she had 22 pregnancies. See, I didn't see anything about the family, but I'm going to write myself a note, because I'll try to. And a lot of this stuff that I've seen, it's repetitive. So I had a bunch of things, but then I took some out, because I'm like, okay, this is saying the same thing, but then they all have something different. So I'll have to, let me just write that down. Which, I mean, it would make sense if she was just getting pregnant as soon as she was able to. It's craziness. Okay.
Now at 6, questions remain on what tipped off investigators to the discovery of 16 children.
Oh, and I don't know why those closed captionings always do that. They always, man, have y'all seen Madonna lately? She was such a beautiful person. Her outward beauty. And I don't know what she did with this cosmetic surgery, but she looks terrible. She looks terrible. Bella says, I heard he started grooming her at 13. That's interesting, because he would have been 16. So they were both minors.
Children living in deplorable conditions inside a Vinton County home. Tonight, we're pushing for answers. Thanks for joining us tonight at 6 on the air and on the stream. I'm Yolanda Harris.
And I'm Jeff Hogan. Authorities made that discovery Tuesday after getting a search warrant for the home. They arrested 4 members of the Siders family.
Yep. So here we have Gary Siders Sr., Gary Siders Jr., Elizabeth Siders, which we'll hear from her lawyer at the end of this live stream. I didn't look closely. I think it was Gary Sr. No. One of them two of them have private attorneys. So Elizabeth has a private attorney, and one of the other ones, I believe, has a private attorney. So I think similar to, Kimberly Sullivan in Connecticut, I think she probably had money because she has a private attorney. But I feel like I shouldn't say a lot of. There are those private attorneys who see a case that, like this one, like it's nationwide, maybe even worldwide at this point. And so they see an opportunity to make a name for themselves, possibly. I mean, this area is small, so I don't know necessarily where the attorneys are from. I would have to look more into it, but it does seem like that happens a lot. Actually, I'm going to write myself a note to look into the attorneys. Okay.
All are charged with 16 counts of endangering children. Law enforcement was working on an unrelated investigation and did not expect to find those kids there.
Well, we have live team coverage tonight. We're going to start with 10 TV's Carla Rogner.
And she is live in Vinton County right now. Carla, what are you learning tonight?
Yeah, well, investigators have been tight-lipped about what led them here in the first place, but we got court records that show there was a warrant filed for the arrest of Gary Siders Jr. on public indecency charges. It's dated the same day that the children were found behind these walls.
Nobody knew. Well, we're so close in, I understand, but it's heartbreaking.
Out for a walk with her dog, Janet Wilberg couldn't help but walk past the Siders family home.
Oh, it's just heartbreaking. Them poor kids. It's awful.
She and other neighbors still grappling with how 16 children could have been living inside the home in conditions that the Attorney General has called pure evil.
But you don't know, you can't do anything.
So what put the Siders family on the radar of law enforcement? Records from the Vinton County Court show on June 29th, a request was filed for a warrant for Gary Siders Jr. The warrant was served the next day, June 30th. It lists 4 public indecency charges for incidents at the Omer Street home on.
And so a lot of people are, speculating why he would have been doing that at his own house. And some are speculating, news media at least, are believing that it's possible that the BCI was like staked out, kind of observing, and it's possible that he was, flashing them, or I don't know, maybe somebody was walking their dog and he just decided that he was gonna flash them. I mean, it's very bizarre, and I don't believe it's probably the first time he's done those things, because and he did it 4 times in as many days. I think it was only like 3 days, actually. There's got to be more out there that these people did. I don't believe. Well, then again, they hid those children for 16 or 18 years. So maybe they, BCI is Bureau of Criminal Investigations. Oh, and so I saw Nanny had said I read possible stillborn. So I did a Google search, but before we learn more about Gary the second, I had seen a picture, and I was like, there's no way this is the mom. There's no way. But you have these, internet sleuths that look at social media, things like that. And so this is True Crime Mama. Not sure who she is, but she says Elizabeth Siders pregnant for 12 3/4 years at least. One of my followers did the math, and based off the birthdays of the children found in the home, she has been pregnant for 153 months of her life. So her first kid was 6 months postpartum when she got pregnant the second time, and then she was 10 months postpartum when she got pregnant the second time, so on and so forth. Of course, this is assuming all 16 children are hers. She's now 33 years old. This is her in the past. This is her now. And this reminds me of Rebecca Haro with baby Emmanuel. She looked much different than she did when she was pleading for her baby to be found alive. So, I mean, the difference is, it's insane. I mean, and hair color does change a lot as well, but just very different, very different.
on May 23rd, May 27th, May 29th, and May 31st. It's unclear if this is what led investigators to the House of Horror. So far, they've only revealed a parallel investigation was underway at the time of the discovery. But regardless of how it happened, neighbors are just glad the children are now free.
They come on an unrelated charge, unrelated incident, and then they stumbled upon the kids. I'm just glad they found them, because they said in 24 hours they could have been dead.
Yeah, we stopped by the Vinton County Sheriff's Office today to try to get a copy of those incident reports from the incidents with Gary Siders Jr. back in May. We're still waiting on those. In the meantime, the 4 Siders family members are all still in jail on a $300,000 bond. Reporting live in Vinton County, Carla Rogner, 10 TV News.
Oop. I need to rewind this because we are going to watch the arraignment again. So the clip that I have after the arraignment, they do talk about the charges for Gary II in relation to the indecent exposure. All right, so this is the arraignment that we started watching yesterday, but I felt that I would show the whole thing again just in case someone wasn't here. Hey, KCG, how are you? And we'll go from there.
To probably state for the record, now that I knew who they were bringing me, these are case numbers 26 CR 50 and 53. All right, let's go over those together, all right? As a preliminary matter, are you okay with doing this by Zoom today? Are you okay with doing this through the computer today? All right. So, actually, there are 7.
Yes, Nanny, he is in a wheelchair. So I'm curious if he was in a wheelchair when he was taken into custody, or if he just has mobility issues, so they're giving him a wheelchair to help him out. Oh, thanks, Queen Bella, for becoming a member. I appreciate that. Welcome to the Stoners. I was thinking, I always say I was going to make like a super chat song or something, but I just never have. So I feel like I probably should, but I feel like telling you thank you is good too. I'm not very good at making, like, you know, the videos and stuff.
Here. I apologize, there are 17 counts on one of these. Each of these counts is a second-degree felony count of endangering children, which is a violation of Ohio Revised Code 291922B1 and E2D. Each one of them alleges that on or about June 30th, 2026, that you did abuse a child under the age of 18 years old, and the violation resulted in serious physical harm to that child. Each count contains different initials indicating and birth dates indicating which child to whom it refers. Count 1 is CS, date of birth 5/30/2008. Count 2 is ZS, date of birth 8/17/2009. Count 3 is CS, date of birth 3/13/2011. Count 4 is KS, date of birth 3/28/2012. Count 5 is BS, date of birth 5/8/2013. Count 6 is GS3, date of birth 9/2/2014. Count 7 is LS, date of birth 5/25/2016. Count 8 is VS, date of birth 10/26/2017. Count 9 is JS, date of birth 10/27/2019.
So between those two, just based on the previous birth dates, they were pretty much born every year. Because that was exactly 2 years apart, I feel like there probably was a miscarriage or, you know, a stillborn baby in between that time, because it just seems like there would be, based on the previous pattern.
Count 10 is ES, date of birth 9/29/2020. Count 11 is NS, date of birth 2/10/22. Count 12, SS, date of birth 2/10/22. Count 13 alleges harm to John Doe, date of birth 1/21/25. That's John Doe A. There's John Doe B, date of birth 1/21/25. Count 15 is simply identified by first name Isaac, no date of birth at this time. Count 16, Isaiah, no date of birth at this time. Count 17, Wade, no date of birth at this time. Those are for you.
So that's interesting, because the count 17 was dismissed. Like, there is no count 17, but she said a first name. Oh, so that would have been, because I do have a WS and a BS, and then I have the IS and IS. So those were the last two sets of twins. So the last name she said was one of the children. So it's possible that one of the other ones she talked about was not one of them.
Mr. Siders Jr., Mr. Siders Sr., those are all the same. Yes, I suspected so, but I wanted to ensure. All right. Each of those felonies of the second degree is punishable by 2 to 8 years as a minimum.
So, Nanny, on the paperwork, they have them listed as John Doe A, John Doe B, but in one of the other documents, so the grandfather's paperwork had 17 charges listed. The other 3 only had 16 charges listed. And the other 3's paperwork, they had the John Doe A, John Doe B, and then they had the IS and IS. So the John Doe ones were, or I'm sorry, not the John Doe ones. The ones that were redacted were BS and WS, which is one of the last charges she read. She had said Wade, which would have been one of the ones that are now redacted, because there's a name, like they redacted the names.
Sentence and a maximum sentence of 12 years in prison, a maximum fine of $15,000, and 18 months to 3 years of post-release control. Do you understand all that? You have the following rights. You have the right to retain counsel, even if you intend to plead guilty. You have the right to a reasonable continuance in the proceedings to secure counsel. You have the right to have counsel assigned without cost to you if you're unable to afford counsel. You have the right to bail if the offense is bailable. We will come back to bail momentarily. You are not required to make a statement at any point in these proceedings, but anything you say can and may be used against you. You have the right to a speedy public jury trial. Do you understand? Also, because these cases have come before this court on a complaint rather than an indictment at this time, you would have the right to a preliminary hearing, and you can discuss that with counsel once counsel is appointed for you. Do you understand? All right. The JO has applications for court-appointed counsel there. You can fill those out and they'll submit them back to the court. You have 4 pleas available to you. A plea of guilty is a complete admission of your guilt. A not guilty plea is a complete denial of your guilt. A no contest plea is not an admission of guilt, but is an admission to the facts that underlie the complaint. If you plead no contest, the state would give me a statement of facts, and it would be up to the court to determine whether or not you were guilty of the charged offenses based on those facts. If the facts were not sufficient, I would find you not guilty. A plea of no contest cannot be used against you in any subsequent civil or criminal case, but you would have a criminal record if you were found guilty pursuant to a plea of no contest. A not guilty by reason of insanity plea must be made in writing. Do you understand those pleas? How do you plead? Yes, I will enter a not guilty plea for you at this time then, and you can confer with counsel. Okay? Mr. Siders, would you like me to enter a not guilty plea for you as well? Until you have the chance to speak with an attorney? I will do that. All right, I need to grab these ones actually.
Okay, and I did look up the attorney. So for the grandfather, the attorney is Dorian Baum. He is out of Lancaster, Ohio. And let's see, let me look at Gary II. Gary II, his attorney is R. Lee Roberts Jr. He is out of Columbus, Ohio.
State's position as to bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, at this time, the state would be requesting a $300,000 cash assurance bond for each defendant under the court standard terms and conditions, including special conditions that they have no contact with each other as co-defendants, and they have no contact with the victims. And if they are able somehow to post bond, that GPS monitoring at their expense.
Gentlemen, do you have anything to say as to bond?
No, I didn't want to hear it.
They asked for a $300,000 cash or surety bond.
So look at his face. He's like, what? 300,000? Man, I think it should be higher than that, but I am not a prosecutor. So he knows in that moment, he is not getting out of jail.
And that if you are in no contact with your co-defendants or with the alleged victims, and that if you are released on bond, that you be required to wear a GPS monitor. Do you have anything to say as to any of that? All right, I will grant the state's request then. It will be a $300,000 cash or surety bond. In the event, well, first of all, no contact with your co-defendants. Don't be speaking with each other there at the jail. If you are released, no contact with the alleged victims. Don't try to contact them from jail either. And you will be required to wear a GPS monitor at the state's expense. You would also be required to be a law-abiding citizen, keep the court informed of any address or telephone number changes, appear at all hearings, and have DNA and fingerprinting done if you've not done so already. Do you understand? All right. Anything else from the state?
No, thank you.
All right. Gentlemen, we'll get you attorneys appointed as soon as possible. Thank you.
Right, Bella, 300,000 per kid. Try that. That would be like over 12 million, right? I should know that. Hold on, I'm going to do it right quick. Oh no, 4.8 million. 4.8 million, which I wonder if there's ever been, I mean, there's been no bond, and like there's been like $1 million bonds. I wonder if there's ever been like a $5 million bond. But yeah, it should be 300,000 per kid. Okay, so the next part is going to be the mom and grandmother. I'm just gonna, oh, here they come. There's grandma. And there is, so grandma is Christina and the mom is Elizabeth. Yeah, Bella, I noticed that too. Like he was trying to help him, but like he just, there was like no emotion, like at all.
The original names weren't listed.
And I still think that Elizabeth is going to be the one to talk first.
I thought maybe they just took the other one out. There's 26 CR 51 and 26 CR 52. Case 5-1 is the state of Ohio versus Christina Siders, and case 5-2 is the state of Ohio versus Elizabeth Siders. Is that the two of you? Yes. And ma'am, you on the left, you're Christina, and you're Elizabeth. Is that correct? All right. The purpose of today's hearing is to advise you of your rights and the charges against you.
Hey, evil queen.
And to set a bond. All right. Have you received copies of the complaints against you? Yes. I believe that they filed an amended complaint this morning, which may differ slightly from what you received. They have gathered some additional information regarding dates of birth and initials for the children. So that would be the only difference. And also have revised the complaint from 17 counts to 16. Okay. Yes. Did you have the opportunity to read that complaint?
Yes, ma'am.
KCG, they are Caucasian.
Okay, I'm gonna go over it with you because these are serious allegations and I think it's important that you understand what we are talking about, all right? These complaints are identical. They each contain 16 counts of endangering children, which is a violation of Revised Code 2919-22B1 and 2919-22E2D.
So, Kursuma, I don't believe you need an attorney during arraignment. This is where they, I don't know. Actually, before I open my mouth, let me Google that. Oh, okay. So it says legally you are not required to hire private counsel for an arraignment, but it is highly recommended to have legal representation. If you cannot afford an attorney, the judge will appoint a public defender to represent you at no cost. An arraignment is your first formal court appearance where the charges are read, a plea is entered, and decisions on release or bail are made. Having an attorney present is critical because they will advocate for reasonable bail terms, advise you on how to plead, usually not guilty, and protect your rights from the very start. So it's possible that they do have attorneys there in the courtroom that we don't see. And actually, while I'm at it, let me look up, because Gary and Gary the second have attorneys. Let me see. So Christina, the grandma, her attorney is Kendra Roberts out of Columbus. And Elizabeth, her attorney is J. Thomas Stolley out of Zanesville, Ohio.
All of those counts are felonies of the second degree. All of those accounts allege that you did in Hamden on or about June 30th, 2026, unlawfully abuse a child under the age of 18, and that violation resulted in serious physical harm to that child, okay? Each count is different in that it identifies a different child by initial and birthday. And so we will go through those quickly and then talk about the rest of what we need to address today, all right? Count 1 refers to CS, date of birth 5/30/2008.
And real quick, I just realized that Christina and Gary II, both of their lawyers have the last name Roberts, and they're both from Columbus, Ohio. So I'm wondering if those two attorneys are in the same practice. It could be a coincidence, but it's quite the coincidence. KCG says, I know this area. Evil Queen said, I heard an interview with the mother's attorney last night. Yes, we're going to watch that. That's the last clip I have for us. Right, Kursuma. Yeah, that's true. The judge asking them if they understand the charges, etc. It looks like the grandpa had no clue what was going on. Yeah, same. He kind of was just like in outer space, and he may not even be able to hear.
Count 2 refers to ZS, date of birth 8/17/2009. Count 3 refers to CS, date of birth 3/13/2011. Count 4 refers to KS, date of birth 3/28/2012. Count 5 refers to BS, date of birth 5/8/2013. Count 6 refers to GS3, date of birth 9/2/2014. Count 7 refers to LS, date of birth 5/25/2016. Count 8, BS, date of birth 10/26/17.
Okay, and so I actually Googled that question, Kursuma, and it says, so my question was, why didn't the Siders have attorneys in court? And it says the Siders family members were actually appointed legal representation by the court. Although they may have briefly appeared in court without an attorney, courts routinely appoint separate defense lawyers to co-defendants to avoid conflicts of interest. In this case, the court appointed separate counsel to represent each of them. So I'm guessing, I don't know if it was before or after she read the charges. I would hope it would be before, but that I don't know. Oh, and actually 45 minutes ago, kind of just a little tangent here, the attorney for Gary Sider Sr., Dorian Baum, said he has not had a chance to meet Gary Sider Sr. because of the holiday, but he had concerns about how he acted during Wednesday's arraignment. Let's see. See if it says anything else. Okay, so here it says, though, that Dorian Baum will represent Gary. Okay, so Dorian Baum will represent Gary Sider Sr. Kendra Roberts will represent Christina Siders. Lee Roberts Jr. will represent Gary Siders Jr. And Thomas Stolley will represent Elizabeth Siders. What is talking? Baum spoke to 10 TV in an interview and said he has not had a chance to meet his client because of the holiday. Sider Sr. had a hard time answering the judge's questions and sat with a blank stare. Just by looking at him, my first impression is I have concerns about his competence. I have concerns about his mental health. I have concerns about his ability to assist in his own defense. These are all things that are bedrock conditions you need to move forward in any case. So my first initial talking with him essentially is going to be, is this a person who we need to evaluate for whether or not he's competent to stand trial? Is this a person who is potentially not guilty by reason of insanity, or any of the other possible defenses. Baum said the widespread media attention could complicate this case. With the media attention, especially in a very small county like Vinton County, it always raises the concern, are you going to be able to find a fair and impartial jury? Not only that, you have sort of the state apparatus attempting to, in some ways, try this case in the court of public opinion, using hyperbolic and extreme language to describe this without, again, allowing us to even have an opportunity to view any of the evidence ahead of time. Baum said he is still waiting to review the evidence in the case. He also emphasized the Siders are innocent until proven guilty. That seems against your rights. Unless there was an attorney present in court that was appointed for just this. But according to Mr. Baum, he has not yet spoken to Gary Sr. Right, Kursuma? What would the judge do if any of them said they did not understand the charges? And I didn't see the grandfather really answer at all. He kind of just sat there. And then like the son was saying whatever to him when they're not supposed to be talking anyways. And so then the judge said, so you want me to enter a not guilty plea for you? And he didn't really do anything. So I think that, I don't know. Hey, what's going on, Matt? Long time no see. Where you been? Matt is like one of the OGs. Matt was here when I first started. Wow. And thanks everybody for being here. I do appreciate it. If you haven't hit that like, please do so. Or the dislike if you don't like it. Either way, engagement is engagement. No, it's fine, Kursuma. Like this is why I like having, people in chat, because there are things that I don't think of. And I know it kind of, you stop the arraignment to answer the questions, but they're questions that if you have them, other people probably have them. Just like in school. I tell the kids, like, you're the only one asking it, but most likely there's others who also have the question. You're just the bravest.
Count 9, JS, date of birth 10/27/2019. Count 10, ES, date of birth 9/29/2020. Count 11, NS, date of birth 2/10/22. Count 12, SS, date of birth 2/10/22. Count 13, IS, date of birth 1/21/25. Count 14, IS, date of birth 1/21/25. I assume that those are two separate children that are perhaps twins. Count 15, BS, date of birth 1/4/24. Count 16, WS 1/4/24. Felonies of the second degree are punishable by a minimum sentence of 2 to 8 years in prison, a maximum sentence of 12 years, and a $15,000 maximum possible fine. They also carry the possibility of 18 months to 3 years of post-release control. Do you understand the charges against you? I need you to answer out loud because we're keeping a record. All right. Doesn't mean you agree with them. I just need to know that you understand what they are. You have the following rights. You have the right to retain counsel even if you intend to plead guilty. You have the right to a reasonable continuance in these proceedings to secure counsel. You have the right to have counsel assigned without cost to you if you are unable to afford counsel. You have the right to bail if the offense is bailable, and we will discuss bail momentarily. You are not required to make a statement at any point in these proceedings, but anything you say can and may be used against you. You have the right to a speedy public jury trial. Do you understand those rights? All right. The jail has applications for court-appointed counsel. If you wish to fill them out, they will send them back to the court. You have 4 pleas available to you. A guilty plea is a complete admission of your guilt. A not guilty plea is a complete denial of your guilt. A no contest plea is not an admission of guilt, but it is an admission to the facts that underlie the indictment. If you plead no contest, the state would give me a statement of facts, and it would be up to not you are guilty based on those facts. If the facts were not sufficient, I would find you not guilty. A plea of no contest cannot be used against you in any subsequent civil or criminal proceeding, but you would have a criminal record if you were convicted under a no contest plea. A plea of not guilty by reason of insanity must be made in writing. Do you understand these pleas? And how do you plead? Stop. First of all, I want to remind you of your right to remain silent. This is not the time for you to argue your case. Okay?
Okay, so maybe that's what happens if they don't have an attorney present, although the one article said that they did have attorneys present in court, but the one man, Mr. Baum, said that he hasn't even been able to talk to Gary Sr. So maybe the court enters a plea of not guilty automatically until they can speak with counsel.
I also need to advise you that because these cases came before this court on a complaint, as opposed to through an indictment by the grand jury, you have the right to a preliminary hearing. And that's a matter you can discuss with counsel once they're appointed as well. All right?
Okay, well, there's the answer. There's the answer to my question. They hadn't been appointed to them at this point. Steph says, so strange to me that they are both with the other in this. Yeah.
All right. So
Agree, Queen Bell.
I will enter not guilty pleas for both of you at this time until you have the opportunity to discuss this case with counsel. State's position as to bond.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court, it is the state's recommendation that a $300,000 cash surety bond be imposed on each defendant based on the seriousness of the offenses that under the court standard terms and conditions, including special conditions that they have no contact with co-defendants, with each other, and with the victims, and that if they were able to post bond, that they would be subject to GPS bond.
Could you hear the prosecutor? The state is asking for a $300,000 cash or surety bond, and that if you are able to post bond, that you have no contact. Well, sorry, let me back up. Even if you're not able to post bond, they're asking that you have no contact with your co-defendants. That means each other. I presume the jail will keep you from having contact with the other 2 co-defendants if you remain in jail. No contact with the alleged victims of the offense, and if you are released, that you be fitted with a GPS monitor at state's expense. We also have general conditions of bond if you are released, which include that you be a law-abiding citizen, that you keep the court informed of any address or telephone number changes, that you appear at all court hearings, and that you get DNA and fingerprinting done if you have not already done so. Do you have anything to say as to bond? You can discuss with your attorney. They could file a motion to modify bond, and the court will consider that at that time. Okay?
So just watching their expressions, grandma is blank stare. Like grandma just doesn't seem to be showing any emotion at all. Whereas Elizabeth, the wife of the son, allegedly the mom of all of these children, she is the only one that's really shown any emotion. I mean, the dad, like, you know, his jaw dropped when he heard the 300,000, but other than that, no one has shown any emotion. She's the only one. So I still believe she's the one who's going to work with the prosecution. And I mean, who knows what was going on in that house? Maybe she was a victim too. We don't know. But
All right, is there anything else from anyone? No. All right, we'll get someone appointed as soon as possible. Thank you. Thank you. You too.
And it makes me wonder, you know, does she have family? Does she have any support system? Because they clearly were living with his mom and dad. Yeah, and she was 15 at the time. Yeah, Bella, I think so too. I think she's gonna work with the prosecution. And I mean, the fact that she asked, is there a way to get bond reduced? I mean, she clearly has some sense of critical thinking. Hey, Cheese, what's going on? Right, Steph. Who knows what it was like when, you know, she got married to this. He was 18. Who knows what happened? Pookie says, I have a feeling she was a victim too. I don't know. Like, I almost have empathy for her. And I know, I don't know. There's just something. I have empathy for her. The other three, I have no empathy for. But I don't know. Maybe seeing her get emotional, just, we'll see. But I feel like I'll just keep it at that. All right. So the next clip I have is about Gary Jr.'s other criminal
In Vinton County Court today, I obtained these.
Lady, calm down. We're not ready yet. So the reason law enforcement found the 16 children is that because a warrant had been issued on the 29th of June for Gary Jr. because he was being charged with 4 counts of indecent exposure at his home where the victims were non-family members. They were executing the warrant on June 30th, and that's when they found the 16 children that they didn't know existed. Kursuma says she looks lost. She does. And I mean, and I don't have the picture up anymore of her, like what she looked like before. If that was her. I mean, I've seen it on several different sources. Oops. Just for those of you who may have come in a little late, I just put it up again. So this was her allegedly then. This is her now. Steph says this is her way out of that toxic situation. It's probably way better than jail is probably better than what she was in. Well, it's definitely better than what she was in. I mean, just hearing, the way that law enforcement described what was inside.
In Vinton County Court today, I obtained these 4 counts filed against Gary Siders Jr. for public indecency. Records show BCI filed all 4 counts against Siders Jr. on Wednesday, the same day they removed the 16 children from his home. Agents wrote, Siders recklessly exposed his private parts at his address and could likely be viewed by those near him who were not members of his family.
Okay, so they said, so he did recklessly expose his private parts under circumstances. I would assume that can be viewed by and affront others who are, I don't know, but they said it's not members of his household. So, I mean, could be a mailman if they got mail. It could be, you know, Amazon driver, someone walking their dog, somebody driving by in a car.
The days of these violations, May 23rd, May 27th, May 29th, and May 31st.
Yeah, so he exposed himself 4 times in as many days. Oh, oh no, wait, this was 4 days. But it can't be the first time he's done something like this. Hey, Green, what's going on? Right, the non-members don't need to see that either. He's gross. I know, Bella, like, gross. And if he's doing it to people who he's not related to, I don't even want to imagine what's going on inside that house. Nasty scumbags. That's what they
This might indicate BCI agents were conducting surveillance on the Siders' home before this week. The search warrant in BCI's initial case has yet to be unsealed. I then came to...
And I mean, that was a good month before they could get the warrant. So I'm wondering if they had gotten that initial report. And so, you know, investigators were kind of like casing the house or, you know, just kind of doing surveillance. And he ended up flashing agents. I don't know.
The offices of Hamden Village. I wanted to know if there was any running water inside the Siders' home. The water department tells me yes, and there has been since 2023 in the name of Christine Siders. However, they told me they could not provide any more information. So I filed a public records request. I was
going to say she can file a public records request, and they will need to give her the records of the water, because the one thing we had read yesterday, or it was a clip, had said they had water and sewer. So
I wanted to know when Christine Siders' account was open, how many times a meter reader was there to check on the water usage, and if there has been any other calls for service. I already asked investigators about the owner of this property. I want to know who gave the Siders permission to stay here. A woman who died last year, she was in her 90s, owned this property. This property and others went into a trust. Today, I tracked down the trustee. I wanted to know if she allowed the Siders to stay here, if they were paying rent, if she was checking on this property, and if she knew about all of these kids. Her husband came out and talked to me to say his wife did not want to talk to me. In Vinton County,
and that's I think that is probably putting, the people who have it now in that trust, like that puts them, they probably feel some sort of way too. And so it's interesting that, so the woman was in her 90s and she passed away last year. So it would be my understanding that when she was alive, she would have been in contact with the Siders because they've been there for 4 years, which makes sense because 2023 is what the water department said. They said that's when the grandmother opened the account. So, and I mean, a woman in her 90s is probably not going to be able to maintain properties at her age. So, and they said she had properties in the area. It's just, this is going to get very complicated. Let me just look at chat right quick. Steph says he needs to be put away forever. I wanted to say something else, but that will do. I know. I'm trying not to swear. Yesterday I swore too much. So that's why I just call them scumbags, because I mean, it's, Steph says, when I moved to my first apartment as an 18-year-old, there was a guy directly across from me that would, oh no. Oh my gosh. I called the cops on him. This reminds me. Ugh. So gross. Like, oh my gosh, people are gross. Patricia, hey, Patricia says Christine looked like Warzel Gummidge. I don't know who that is. Let me Google that. Warzel. Oh, right there, Gummidge. Television series. Oh my gosh. I've never heard of that before. Oh, wow, that's very big. Let me make it a little smaller. So this is what Patricia was referring to. If anyone has not heard of it. Hey, B Mama V. Thanks for being here, and thanks for sending the 200 joules, the sunshine. Oh, the sunshine. I missed it. Thanks, I appreciate that. And Steph B, thanks for this super chat. Thank you for following this. Yeah. Yesterday was tough. Like, just, I feel like now, because we're getting into like the logistics of it, like the court stuff. I mean, the details yesterday, like it was a lot, especially the first time I started watching stuff. It was just hard to hear. All right, so let's go back over here. Okay, so, oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm having a brain fart. Okay, let me just see if I missed anything else. And thank you everyone again for being here. I do appreciate it. Steph says, the cop said he can do what he wants in his apartment. Was 100 years ago, though. You know what? That's interesting. I wonder. Right, because you can walk around your house however you want to walk around. I'm just going to, let's see. I don't know how to word this. I don't want to get flagged. Okay, so it does say, though, exposing yourself in your own home in front of an uncovered window can lead to indecent exposure or public indecency charges. Being inside your house is not a legal defense if you are naked and intentionally exposing yourself, or if you should have known that people outside could see you. So, you still could be charged. It comes down to intent and visibility to the public. All right. And just dropping by to give you a bit of sunshine, some DNA, and thank you for everything you do. Oh, I appreciate that. And I was just told who you are, and I think of you often. You were in my chats a long time ago when I first started, and I hope things are, as good as they can be. So I appreciate you stopping in. Let's see. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything in chat. B Mama says, we're waiting on a bunch of motions that the defense filed. Stressful, but I don't believe those motions will pass. I hope everyone has a wonderful weekend and a 4th. You too. You too. Patricia, I do not know that. The only thing that I've been able to find, and granted, I didn't dig too much today because I had to clean my house since I had people coming. I had to like tidy up. But the only one that was known of was the 18-year-old. And law enforcement had said yesterday that the 18-year-old could not even spell her name. And they also said that communication with the children was very difficult. So I can imagine that they all probably were at an age much lower than, their age on paper. All right, I think I've got everybody. Hey, Lunatic. Better late than never. Has anyone seen Callie Dime? No, I have not. But I haven't really been around. I did stop into a couple of, or actually one chat today. I only went to one chat, and it was for like maybe 10 minutes. Trying to kind of stay away. Nanny says, I wonder if the parents and grandparents were illiterate. That's a good question. Hey, KDP, thanks for being here. Okay, so this next clip is the one that I had mentioned yesterday about the woman that worked at Dollar General. And she said that the family would come in, you know, some of the kids would come in with the parent, and they would, you know, they were stinky and dirty, and they would offer them hygiene products and other things to hopefully assist them. And they didn't, it seems that they didn't take, like they took the items but didn't actually put them to use. It's okay, Lunatic. Thanks so much, Steph. And KDP received a gift membership. Congratulations. Welcome to the Stoners.
The 4 people accused of abusing and neglecting 16 children and locking them in a room in Vinton County. Good evening. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Ralston.
And I'm Rodney Dunnigan. Tonight, we're getting insight from people in that community about what they saw and their reaction to all of this. Nick Veland.
The initial court paperwork did say 17 counts, but the prosecution did modify that. I should say they did amend that, and there are only 16 charges.
County sheriff described the conditions.
I mean, I listened to this, and she said they had their hair like over their face. I mean, it could be to block out the outside world, but for me, what I thought was, 1, they weren't getting haircuts, and 2, it could be to block the light from their eyes, because if they were kept in a room for 4 years, I'm assuming there was probably, I don't know, there could be lights. I'm going to assume there weren't any lights, because the way that these people are, they probably didn't give them any, they probably just kept them in there. It could be so that they, you know, the light hurt their eyes, or it could be the parents wanted them not to be seen. I think it's very peculiar that you would do that, but I mean, and I wonder how long, I don't know, I could have missed it because I was reading chat, but I wonder how long ago they were in the Dollar General. Like, it was it years ago? Was it recent? Patricia says, I was wondering if all of the children were actually siblings, if the smartest ones are the kids of the older ones. That's why I asked. You know, I had actually asked that question yesterday too, because there were older siblings, and, you know, bad things were already happening. So did more bad things happen, and some of the children were some of the children's children? That is to be determined. Yeah, scary as F is right. Yep, they weren't in school. Nope. Nanny says, I just read that the parents and grandparents had functional illiteracy with no medical or government paper trails. Interesting. Grain, they're saying, so investigators are saying there's no evidence that any of the children were born at home. And I think it was the DA. Was it the DA? I think it was the DA or the Attorney General. I can't remember. He said that they were able to verify that through outside sources, whatever that means. Oh, did she? They were her last customers yesterday. I missed that. I'm going to back up just a little bit when they start talking to her.
Keep her really close to her.
This is in Vinton County, Ohio. The town is Hamden. And Google says that the population is just over 700, but in one of the news clips that we watched yesterday, they said the population was just over 200. That's a huge difference between population. So it's somewhere between 200 and 700. You know, and the thing is, like, I would feel the same way that she does. There was nothing she could have done. Did she know where they lived? Did she know who they were? I mean, granted, she could have called police and said, hey, you know, we had these people come into the store today. This is what they looked like. But if you didn't know who they were or where they were from, it would be hard to help, you know, like tell someone. But I
in Vinton County, Nick Veland, ABC 6 News.
Okay. And, you know, it just brings me back to the case of the man in Connecticut where his stepmother, Kimberly Sullivan, the evil bitch that she is, you know, kept him locked up for decades. And you know what? Let me write myself a note. I need to look up and see if there's any update because, you know, they had said that he would probably most likely be in the hospital for some time, which makes sense. Like I can't remember, he weighed, was it like 98 pounds and he was 32 or 33? Maybe it was, no, he was less than 98 pounds. Hold on. I'm going to have to look because it's going to bother me. So he was 32. So I was correct in that. Okay, so he was 5'9" tall and he weighed 68 pounds. Okay, so I was 30 off. Yeah. And he was locked in an 8-foot by 9-foot room for 20 years at least. So I just think like these kids are going to need a lot of care. KDP says it's hard to help even when they are. Yeah, that is true. That is true. You can only do so much. And sometimes it, you know, as much as you know, call, you know, the people, you know, report them or, you know, truancy is huge where I work. Pookie says, I bet the youngest twins were the ones in critical condition. That is possible. All right, so we have 2 more clips. This clip is the full interview. So I had a shorter clip that I was going to show today, but I think it was Pookie had sent me the full interview. So we're going to take a look at this. And then the last thing I have is an interview with Elizabeth Sider's lawyer. So she's the mom, the alleged mom of all the kids, and the one that seems to have the most emotion about it. And then we'll do some last thoughts and kick this popsicle stand.
Facts of the case are horrible. But you had a front row seat to the emotions. I think that's what we're most interested in.
Okay. All right. Ready?
Mm-hmm.
When I first initially got there to be a driver for the EMS, one of the squads, there was just a line of cars, a line of BCI, the sheriff office, Benton County EMA. There was just a whole slew of cars, and it was kind of a cluster because that's a small road to go through. And when we got there, I got out of the truck. I told the other firefighter with me to take the truck back to the station. They'll drop me off. I started walking up to the scene, and they start screaming at me. We need a driver. So I get into the squad. Sure enough, we have a load of children in the back that were clearly and not in the greatest shape. They were very quiet. Other than that, we turned around, ran lights and sirens to the hospital for a quick turnaround because we may have to transport more children. And all I can think of is this is a big scene for our tiny community. Hampton doesn't have that many people. Benton County and the whole spec of it doesn't have a lot of resources. So we contacted Jackson County and they got more squads there, first responders. And they arrived pretty quickly as well. And I mean, it was a situation we're not used to dealing with. You know, I work for Jackson County EMS too, part-time. And when we go into houses, there's a few that we know about that are kind of these kind of conditions, but not so much that you see that number of children that are in that situation. If they were, you report that. This one just kind of caught us out of surprise, really, because we didn't really expect, this house didn't even look like anyone was living in it. So that was kind of challenging.
Can you describe at all what the children inside the back of that car looked like, and just sights, smells, everything that you encountered when you had those kids in the back seat?
Well, if anyone has been into a house that has these kind of conditions, you can smell, you can see the cockroaches and stuff like that, bugs just in general. And the conditions, you know, bugs get on the children and stuff and they scratch and they bite and all that stuff. So their condition wasn't the greatest. As far as the smell, it's just a certain kind of smell. If you've ever been into a house that had those kind of conditions, it's not very pleasant. You know, typically I wear a mask if I endure those kind of conditions, just a face mask, to kind of help cover that up because it's awful.
Potent?
Yes. It sticks with you, and it sticks on your clothes, and you can smell it for hours afterwards until you can get it changed.
Do you know at all roughly the age range of the kids who were in the back seat? You said there were 4 that you had.
I know that 2 of them were small. I don't know age range, but I knew they were all pretty young kids that we dealt with.
Like elementary school age?
Yes, yes.
And I mean, I see that you're married. I don't know if you have children or not, but just, how did it make you feel to see children, you know, in such a state, you know, and being that person to get them help that they needed?
Well, that's just what we do. Seeing children like that, and I think Sheriff Ryan King kind of touched on that. Our livestock around here live in better conditions. So.
And I'd like to go back to that moment when you were driving and you kind of looked over your shoulder and they were in the back. Bring us to that moment. What you remember? Is there an image that day? Did you see the child's eyes? Did they look at you? Did they touch you? Did they smile at you? Is there some haunting memory you have of providing care to these kids?
Mainly I was focused on driving, getting down to the hospital or close.
I had to go turn the light on and I forgot to unmute. So I was answering you, Grain. So he had said that he had transported 4 of the children, and he said they were elementary age, but the children were clearly neglected and underweight, malnutritioned. So even if they looked elementary age, they could have been some of the older children. Oops, wrong screen.
This hospital is from Hamden, probably about 20 minutes. I knew it was just quiet. That's what it was. Blank expressions. Of course, they were scared. They've never endured anything like that before. They didn't know where they were going, you know, that kind of situation.
Did they have any questions for you as you were taking?
They didn't speak to me. I try to have limited contact unless I was asked to help with the children. So when we arrived down at the ER, I helped unload the children to the hospital. So.
You said this sort of stuff doesn't really happen here. Do you think it'll ever happen again, or is this a once in a career emergency?
Well, you just don't know. You really don't know what's going on behind someone's door. I mean, clearly that house, nobody had any indication that there were that many children in that house. So are you supposed to go knocking door to door and ask people? You really can't. So I got what I need. Do you have what you need?
I think so. Only thing that my team is asking for, we see that Gary Jr. has a pretrial on the 9th for an indecency charge of some kind. I think that's a separate case number.
Yes, that's separate.
We have it. Can you print that off as well?
Oh, we don't handle that. That's in county court. So, yeah, but I can take you over there.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey,
Nick, can you hear me all right?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can.
No. YouTube. Pause. Okay, so that was actually quicker than I thought. Oh, I didn't see what you said, Steph. I probably shouldn't share that, so I will delete. Yeah, they are. They're going into safety. And you know, how scared must they be? You know, you have all of the law enforcement, first responders coming and taking you to a hospital that you have never seen before. I mean, they must be terrified. Terrified. KDP says, I taught pre-K and got bit, hit, and cussed out daily. In pre-K? I mean, I know they're very young, you know, with their words as of late, but pre-K, that's crazy. Okay, Steph. So how long did you teach for? I actually, let's see. I'm going to be going in my 17th year. 17th year? Let me see. Yeah, I think it's, hold on. 2026. Oh, this actually might be my 18th year. Oh, wow, 32 years. So it's either my 18th or 19th year this year. Or no, 17th or 18th. So I have, if I wait until I'm 55, I have 7 more years. If I want to go 30 years, I have 13 years. So I think I'm going to go for 30 years because then you get a full pension. God willing, if I, you know, stay healthy and am able to do what I need to do. But at least I know 7 years is like the longest I have to. But congratulations on your retirement. It must be so exhilarating. One of my coworkers that retired this year, it's actually the second time she retired. And so she had retired and then said, you know, the school where I'm at, they needed a Spanish teacher. So she said, oh, I'll just do it for a few months. Well, she was there 3 years. So she said, I think I'm finally done. All right. So this last clip we have is an interview that local media did with the lawyer for Elizabeth Sider, who is J. Thomas Stolley. I did write that down earlier. And so we'll take a listen to this and then do some last thoughts.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, Nick, can you hear me all right?
Yep. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. Well, thanks for taking the time. I'm sure it's been a busy afternoon.
It has.
And this is about 10 minutes, but I think I still have it sped up a little bit. So it'll be like 8 minutes or so.
Busy couple days.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So we can just kind of jump right in. Thank you again. All right.
Recording in progress.
All right, so first off, just say and spell your first and last name for us.
It is Tommy Stolley. Tommy spelled the way you think it would be, Tommy. Stolley spelled Stolly.
And then official title.
Managing attorney, Stolley Law Offices.
And then when it just comes to this case, you know, you being the lawyer on this one, just kind of just what are your initial thoughts when it comes to, you know, this case that you have at your hand right now?
Well, my initial thoughts are always for the human aspect of a case like this. Obviously, this is something that has been sensationalized a bit. the media is interested in it. People are talking about it. You see it everywhere. But there's a human component here. So that's always the first thing that I'm interested in. I want to know what the charges are, and then I start thinking about the human aspect of it, because that's the thing that's going to actually be real. Because at the end of the day, that's what we care about. So that was my initial thought moving into this, and that's sort of the thought that I went in to the jail with today to speak with Elizabeth, to try to get more of the human side of things.
Yeah, so you went and you talked with Elizabeth today. Can you kind of share what you guys discussed, how she's doing?
I did. I can share to an extent. So what I will say is that I had no idea what I was walking into. I saw the same headlines everyone else did. At one point, the term pure evil was used to describe Elizabeth and the home. And at another point, there was a comment that livestock had been treated better. So I really didn't know what I was walking into. When I walked in there, I met a woman who was timid and who was exhausted. It looked like she had been crying quite a bit. She looked distraught, and she was willing to talk to me, able to talk to me, and we sat down for about an hour and a half to go through the basics of this case. Obviously, to talk about some of the legal aspects that are coming up, future hearings in court, what my role is as her attorney, and then I asked her some more personal questions. I asked her if she had seen any of the coverage that has been online for the better part of a day now. She hasn't. She does not know how the home, the conditions, the investigation is being described. And I chose not to share all of those details with her at this point because she does seem so fragile. The person that I met with, though, is not someone who comes across as pure evil. It's just evil requires malice. And the person that I saw there, Elizabeth, she doesn't have that in her eyes, at least from this initial. So this was an opportunity for me to get to know her to the extent that I can in this early stage. So at this point, I do. I think she is distraught.
Do you think that she's a victim in any of this?
She would not. I don't think she would classify herself as a victim. That was. I asked her that question in a couple roundabout ways, and.
So that's interesting. He said that she does not consider herself a victim, and he asked her in several different ways. But if she, if she was used to what was happening, maybe she didn't see it as herself being a victim. She may have seen it as just being normal.
She did not have a typical victim-minded mindset when answering. She did say that she misses her kids. And that's one of the things that shocked me was the first question that she asked me was, are the kids okay? When can I see the kids? And do you know anything about where they are? That was the first series of questions that she asked me, which, kind of surprised me. Usually when people are in jail, they ask, can you get me out of here? When can I get out? So I think that was telling.
Yeah, and you kind of mentioned it there. And another lawyer also that's defending Gary Sr. also kind of said that, the sheriff and the attorney general, they're saying that, these sheriffs, attorney generals are making this, a political, they're sensationalizing this case, excuse me, this case. So do you believe that to be true?
I don't want to get into politics here. I don't think that any of this investigation is politically motivated. I think the investigators and law enforcement work on the ground. So they see what's right there, right in front of them. They don't necessarily have the benefit of a hindsight conversation. So I think a lot of the snapshots that got out there into the media and on press conferences were based on those initial perceptions. And that's not the whole story. It doesn't tell us why something happened. It doesn't actually present a narrative as to who these people are and who these children are in that context. So I would say we are still so very early on in this case. And it takes time. But unfortunately, first impressions really do matter. And so when we have language like pure evil, it's important to combat that language and say innocent until proven guilty. Because that's what Elizabeth is, and that's what all of her family who lived in that home are. They're innocent until proven guilty. And it's the state's burden to prove them guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And we don't know at this point if they're going to be able to do that. Part of what I was able to get today in sitting down and meeting with Elizabeth was a little bit more of that context. Who she is as a person, and her relationship with the kids.
And kind of, you kind of mentioned the media aspect of things. The talk of the town in Vinton County is this case. Do you want to take this case out of Vinton County? Do you want to ask for it to be taken out of Vinton County to be somewhere else?
I don't know if we have enough information for that at this point. What I will say is that the people of Vinton County are tremendously fair, and we look forward to vigorously defending this case. And that's going to involve a lot of investigation and, to be honest, a lot of time. So is that something that is a possibility? Maybe. We don't know that at this point. We don't have discovery at this point.
All right. Well, is there anything else I'd like to add that I didn't ask you about?
Not that I can think of, other than the fact that we are still so early here, and it's going to take time. There's going to be more information that comes out, and some of it is probably going to bring a lot of this into context. But what I would ask for the public, or from the public rather, is to allow this thing and to have faith in the system and to allow this process to work out. Because, like I said, we look forward to vigorously defending this case, to working through each of the charges. Most importantly, we want to make sure that the kids are okay. And it sounds like that is well on the way at this point. So, then our focus shifts to the context and figuring out all we can about what happened. So the unfortunate truth in the American justice system is that takes time. So we're confident that it will, that the system will work. It's just going to take time.
Yeah, and just kind of lastly, when were you notified that you'd be taking this case?
Well, coincidentally, I happened to be in Vinton County yesterday. And it was yesterday afternoon, right before the courthouse closed, that I got notification that I would be, they asked if I would take the case, and I said yes.
And then I know it's still kind of early on for you, and you might not have all the details. But was Elizabeth 15 years old when she was married to Gary?
That's my understanding, yes.
Okay. And I just want to make sure I covered all the basics. I think we got it also. I appreciate your time today. I know it's probably been very busy.
It has, but I appreciate you taking the time as well.
Yep. All right. Well, have a great rest of your evening.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Have a good one.
You too.
All right. So there we have it. He seems like a decent guy. I did look him up, Mr. Stolley, and he is a private attorney. Just gonna see if they he actually worked in LA for a while and then came back to Ohio. So that's what I have for all of you today. Let me just look at chat quick, and then I am going to say goodnight. Uni said, my friend taught elementary all the way up to high school students. The last few years she taught sped for high school students. Yeah. Where I work, we have a high population of special education. A lot of it is just, kids who fell through the cracks and they don't have the support system at home. They were just pushed through, social promotion, no child left behind. And unfortunately, it's the kid that suffers. All right. So thanks everybody for being here. Like I said, I do appreciate it. For those of you who are interested, actually, I will be live on my second channel tomorrow. On my second channel is where, it was created to do drama over there because at the time I wanted to separate the drama from my true crime, and there hadn't been much drama. There's always drama, but tomorrow I am going to be talking about the situation going on with a certain person allegedly being doxxed, and said person sat around next to the person who doxxed me, showed my house, had it as a background for hours on a live stream. So, you know, when you support or deny or turn a blind eye to things that are happening right in front of you, karma will come around. It just may not come around right away. So, you know, if you're able to stand by and watch someone else lose their anonymity completely, then you have to be able to stand by when it happens to you. That's just the way it is. And yeah, a field trip you didn't want to go on. Yeah, virtual field trip to my house. And I had Google block out my house, and my neighbor also has their house blocked out for whatever reason, so you couldn't go down my street. But then, you know, they go to an older browser where you can still see it. And it's like, but they don't go real life. Okay. Saying that you're sending a video to my school board, that's not going real life. And so I have to get clips together. Obviously, I'm not going to show the live stream where my house was on on the background or the virtual field trip, but I do have some things that I want to present tomorrow because it seems like it was just last year, but I feel like it was probably, oh no, I think it was last year that the virtual field trip to my house happened. And I did nothing to the people who were doing it to me. Nothing. I haven't even called them by their actual names at all. But because of who I was friends with, they came after me just for being someone's friend. And I mean, anyways, we'll get to that tomorrow. That is at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And as I said at the beginning, I think they're having fireworks tomorrow. I'm not sure. I have to figure out what time. I'm thinking it's probably 9 o'clock or later because that's usually, it's when it's dark. So I don't go past 2 hours for my live streams most likely. So I did drop the link to my second channel in chat. Please subscribe if you're interested. I'm trying to get my hours over there. I only go live once a week, but I was thinking today, I think I might start going live over there twice a week to do like, not necessarily drama, but just like not true crime streams. For example, does anyone else get sucked in by the TikTok shop? Is it just me? Because I just ordered, I just sit there watching these videos of, you know, Tarte has this like full face concealer, or it's like, I don't know what it's called, but it kind of goes with it kind of changes to your skin tone. So of course it's hotter than Hades. So it's not like I can use it now. It's just going to melt off my face. But I ended up buying the Tarte concealer stick, whatever it's called, with the brush. Cause it was, they said it was a deal. I don't know if it really was a deal, but it was like 60% off what you would normally buy. So of course I bought it. Oh, you love a TikTok shop? Yeah. And then the one thing I haven't given into is the spray, the face spray that you can see all of your like little hairs on your face to like microblade. I haven't done that yet, and I don't think I will. But it's like the ASMR, like just watching these women or men like spray their faces and then they see like, holy crap. And then they're like microblading. I don't know. It's just aesthetic for some reason to me. Maybe I'm just weird. I don't know. Cheese says I stopped wearing makeup in the 80s. I don't wear as much. When I was in high school, I wore a lot of makeup, like a lot. And then in college, I didn't wear as much. And now I really don't wear a lot because I wear mascara and eyeshadow usually, that's it. And then sometimes I do use the concealer stick under my eyes because, you know, I got the dark circles sometimes. But anyways, Thanks again for being here. I do appreciate it. For those of you who said that you weren't having a good day, I hope it gets better. And no outro today because it's been a long live. But I hope to see you tomorrow. But if not, I will see y'all on the flip side.